Hi, welcome to episode 4 of Deck of Christmas Past, a video series where I will talk about old commanders I've built. I will talk about who the commander is and what they did. I will give some personal insight about where I was as a commander player. I will talk about why I built the deck, what was the motivation or inspiration for the deck, what was the main strategy of the deck, some pros, some cons, why did I break up with the deck, and finally, would I get back together with the deck? Who was the commander? Today I will be talking about Maraf, Will of the Wild. Maraf is a 3 CMC and Naya commander that says, Maraf enters with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. You can also remove X +1/+1 counters from it to choose one. Put X +1/+1 counters on target creature. X cannot be 0. Maraf deals X damage to any target. X cannot be 0. Or create an XX green elemental creature token. X cannot be 0. Mindset. If I remember right, this was my 4th commander deck I had fully built, and after the success of Savra, I was kind of riding high on it and I felt on top of the world. So I decided that it was time for a pet project. And that's where Maraf comes in. The inspiration for the deck was basically, anyone that knows me knows that I've always been a big fan of Beast Kindred. My first 60 card deck that I built on my own was a Gruul Beast deck built around cards from the Onslaught block. And I just happened to have a lot of the cards from the deck, so I decided I can translate this into an EDH deck. The main strategy of the deck was just to go wide with big beefy creatures and a little bit of direct damage thanks to cards like Ether Charge. Pros and cons. Pros. Honestly, I have trouble thinking of pros about this deck. I guess I could say that I had a lot of support in Gruul for the typo, and it felt good to swing with big beefy creatures, but outside of that, cons. The white felt tacked on. Once again, I ran into the same problem that I've been struggling with in regards to balancing 3 or more colors. On top of that, the deck was such a high cost on the CMC. A lot of the beasts are 4+ CMC, so the first few turns felt like they were lacking impact if I wasn't hitting ramp right off the bat. The breakup. The cons just outweigh the pros. The deck was too slow. The first few turns with a lot of mana go, unless I lucked out with ramp and rocks. The white was mostly there for removal because there aren't really any good beasts that have white. A lot of times it felt like my opponents were doing everything and I was just watching them play the game the first few turns. I thought about building the deck to abuse the abilities that Maraf has, but I wanted a beast typal deck, and that wasn't what that wouldn't be the deck if I did that. Get back together. Nope. Would I build this deck again? Maybe. But as a beast typal deck? Nope. It took over a decade, but Wizards finally gave us a good beast typal legend with Slinza, and I built that instead. But one last thing before I go. So this deck has kind of a special place in my heart because a buddy of mine made this for me. He took those big cards that you have and made it into a normal size card and split it like in half. So like, it's like that. And I've always thought this is really cool, and I've always wanted to use him as a commander just because of that, but I just haven't built it again. Well, thank you for joining me for this video. I really appreciate it. Any thoughts, comments, anything, I would really appreciate it. Repost it, share it, and thanks again for joining me on this journey.